Black women, have you ever felt like you've been the caretaker for everyone else in your life? Like you've had to grow up way too soon, carry the weight of your entire family, and now you are left feeling emotionally drained with no sense of who you are outside of the roles that you play? Well, I'm here to tell you that's called parentification, and it's time to break free. In our exclusive membership community, Legacy Shifters, we've created an experience specifically for Black women just like you. Women who are ready to reclaim their voice, prioritize themselves, and heal from the invisible wounds of being the strong one for way too long. Through live workshops with me, Montina Galloway, a licensed therapist, and my expert team, plus a private app-based community of women who understand, you'll gain the tools that you need to set boundaries, to prioritize yourself without guilt, and create a life that's truly yours. Imagine a legacy where your joy, your peace, and your priorities come first. Don't wait. Join today. You'll save with our annual membership discount. Visit legacy-shiftersmn.co. Say it with me. I deserve this. Legacy Shifters is here to help you live it.
Hey, Tori. Happy Monday.
Hey, Nani.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm great, feeling blessed and excited to welcome everybody to our new segment here at Galloway Counseling, Restored Healing Conversations. This was an idea that we had for me and you to have real, insightful conversations about the challenges and breakthroughs surrounding parentification. And we'll talk a little more about what that is, and just emotional wellness and holistic well-being. So today, we're tackling some of the most frequently asked questions we hear from our clients about therapy and parentification. Is how it shows up and where the healing begins. So, I'm Nani. I am the Client Success Coordinator here at Galloway Counseling, and I'm joining here with Tori, one of our amazing therapists.
Yeah, so I am Tori. I am associate level therapist. Alongside parentification, I also specialize in religious trauma, attachment issues, and relationships, and also racial identity.
Yes, she does it all, y'all. Not everything, but she does she does very well. And so I'm excited to break down some of the questions we hear most often and have you, as our licensed mental health professional, provide clarity for anyone at any point in their healing journey. So let's get started with the main question, which is, what is parentification?
Yes. So parentification is essentially when a child is forced to take on adult-like responsibilities before they're able to, or before they're ready to. And so, yeah.
Yeah. And so it definitely covers a lot of topics like over responsibility, and really that arrested development that we talk a lot about. So could you explain more of the specific ways that parentification shows up in a child's life?
Yes. First, it shows up when people feel like or a child feels like they have to prioritize the needs of others over their own well-being, difficulty setting boundaries with other people, even taking on domestic things around the household, even financial responsibilities.
Yeah. So obviously that is way too much for an adult to carry, let alone a child, right? So a child literally taking on adult roles, being a caretaker, being overly responsible for the adults in their life, whether emotionally, financially, or even being a caregiver for a parent or an adult in their life who might be disabled or have a substance abuse issue. And so all of that is a lot to carry. And it definitely will lead to patterns and cycles in the child's life as they grow into an adult. So another question I want to get into is how does this show up for adults who've been parentified? Like, how does that linger? What patterns do you see in your clients?
I think they have a loss of identity. So when you're prioritizing the needs of others, you don't really know what you need. And they have issues, again, like setting boundaries with family members, friends. They feel guilty when setting boundaries. They typically have like a lower self-esteem because their self-esteem was dependent upon taking care of others and prioritizing their own the needs of others. Also, anxiety and depression shows up, and difficulties with emotional regulation.
Yeah. Sure. And so I also know this brings up a story that I've heard from a client regarding just difficulty trusting people in their lives, and really allowing themselves to be vulnerable and be taken care of, and opening up in that way because they're so used to being the strong one and being the responsible one and doing it for everybody else. And so when it's time for them to be taken care of, they know deep down that they need it and they crave it, but there's still that resistance because it's nothing that you've experienced before. You know, you've always been on the other side of that giver and take relationship. So how do you break out of that? Like, what's the first step towards, you know, getting past that part of your life and opening yourself up to healing?
I think acknowledging the fact that like it takes a support system, that we can't carry all of our baggage and burdens alone. Like connecting with people and leaning on people doesn't make you weak. Redefining what you view as strong, because sometimes we think strong is like not being emotionally vulnerable, not talking to friends when you feel like you need their support. So just being comfortable with challenging the way that you perceive your life, and the way that you view support.
Exactly. Yeah, I love that, redefining what strength means to you. And a lot of what you just said are, you know, the emotional openness, the vulnerability, allowing yourself to tell people like, I'm tired or I can't do this, I don't want to do this. Like, those are things that even for myself growing up, I've heard as weaknesses, things that I should not do. I should be able to do it. So it is a huge task to unlearn the things that you've learned your whole life. And so what is a small step? Because this is a huge lifelong task. You know, it's a forever thing. Healing is a journey, right? And so what is a small step that anyone can take to shift, that can lead into that big change of breaking away from parentification?
Just like you said, I think there are many different components of parentification. So one thing I think that would be important is like figuring out what you value. Because if you find like your core values, that will help you first. It'll be a step towards like learning how to set boundaries. Because in order to set boundaries, like you have to know what you value to figure out what you want to prioritize and like what you don't.
Right. So I feel like that's going back to what you said earlier about losing that self-identity. So like, what do you value? What is important to you? Not what's important to your parents or your family, your spouse, you know, what is, you know, that person, yourself, that introspective take. I love that. What outside of core values, identifying that, do you feel is another impactful step or method that you use with your clients for breaking away from parentification?
I would say with my clients, I typically do go back to like childhood and think of things that you would want to say to like your inner child, like your child self. Like in that moment when your mom was basically neglecting your needs, you didn't know what to expect from your parents. Like, what would you have told yourself?
Right.
And then every time you're feeling that way, just reminding yourself of that statement that like we create together.
Ooh, I love that
Yeah.
story. I literally felt warm just now. Yeah, that inner child connection is everything. Like, because your child self and your adult self now, in a lot of ways, are the same person. And
Right.
we have to be in communication with all those different parts of ourselves, and the past, present, future, they all are connected. So I love that. Y'all, if you're finding this conversation helpful, we'd love to help you dive even deeper. So stay tuned to learn more about how we can support your healing journey. Okay, so before we wrap up, let's do a lightning round of some quick questions to answer that we see commonly from our clients. So one, is it normal to feel angry about being parentified?
Yeah. It is like completely normal because like when you think about it, your childhood was taken away from you. Like you didn't have a childhood because you were, again, like doing adult like responsibilities before you were developmentally ready.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And so, how do I talk to my family about my childhood experiences of parentification without causing conflict?
I would definitely say um, figuring out those who you feel like would be receptive because sometimes, although we want to communicate how we feel about our childhood, some parents may not be as receptive to what you went through. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
So there are some folks who, have great support systems already with friends and family, but there are still things that they struggle with. So why do you think folks may need Myers-Galloway counseling?
I think just like that extra support because with counseling, like you have that objective perspective, number one. Um, and even when you're talking to friends, sometimes like they know you. And so it's easier to talk to someone that you don't know for that objectivity.
Right. And how do I know if I'm even ready for it? Like, how do I know if it's going to be right for me? How do I know if Myers-Galloway counseling is the right fit for me?
So I definitely, the first thing that I would do is I would book a 15-minute phone consultation with one of our therapists because that is a way that you're able to see how we work with clients because each therapist has a different way of connecting with clients. And that will give you a better idea if we're a good fit or not.
Exactly. Yeah. And so let's talk a little bit more about how parentification therapy may be different from counseling.
Okay. I think that overall with parentification, you will experience, like, I think in any therapy experience, you're going to have like ebbs and flows of things that may feel uncomfortable. Talking about your experience in childhood, like, can be uncomfortable because we may be pointing out things that maybe your parents did or maybe your family did. So it just brings up things that we may not are unaware of.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so can parentification be healed, even if it happened years ago, decades ago?
Yes, it can be healed. I don't put a time frame on healing. I think that it's dependent on the client, but it can be healed.
Yes, don't put a time frame on healing. We have clients in their 60s, 70s. We have clients as young as 19, 20. These are generational gaps, but all of them can point back to those experiences of, parentification. And I think that it's really inspiring and important that our clients reflect some of those nuggets that we preach, that, your healing can start at any time of your life. It's never too late. So I just wanted to also answer a common question that I hear about my role as a client success coordinator, what I do. So outside of your therapeutic experience and sessions with our therapists, there are so many other ways that Myers-Galloway Counseling supports our clients. And so if you are in need of psychiatric referrals, I'm your girl. If you are in need of resources or services or programs for housing or rent utility services, other assistance programs, I'm here to help as well. I'm also the director of our Don't Call Me Strong retreat, and I lead our community networking events, as well as co-piloting our Legacy Shifters membership community with Montina, Myers-Galloway, our owner and lead therapist. And so there are a lot of different services here at Myers-Galloway Counseling that you can tap into, including therapy. And we have many of our therapy clients who tap into all of those services, and they really experience that holistic healing that we provide. And so feel free to contact our hello@, myersgallowaycounseling.com if you have any questions on how we can support you, if you are a current client or a potential client. So this has been really good. We talked a lot about parentification, how it shows up in children, how it impacts adulthood, relationships, what those first steps of healing looks like. What is, a little word that you can leave people with before we wrap up?
I would say patience. Or I don't even want to say a word. I want to say giving yourself grace. Because a lot of times I feel like we are our own worst critics. And so knowing that like where you are now doesn't mean, or like what you're experiencing now doesn't mean you're going to experience it tomorrow.
Absolutely. I love that. Thank you. I feel there is so much clarity and empowerment that can be gained through therapy here at Myers-Galloway Counseling. Our mission is to heal and develop Black women so that they can create resilient families. And we preach that all Black women deserve and should invest in themselves and their mental health, their well-being, their emotional wellness. And we are leading this mission on eliminating and shining a light on parentification. And I just want everyone to remember that you're not in this alone. And like Tori said, it takes patience, healing takes time, but healing can start today. all you have to do is pick up that phone and give us a call, send us a appointment request, send us an email, because it's absolutely possible. And we are here to guide you every step of the way. So if today's conversation resonated with you, we invite you to book that 15-minute free clarity call with one of our therapists, and we can explore how we can support you. So go ahead and give us a call at 704. Tori, help me out with the last digits. You know my
750-1889.
Okay, y'all. That was 704-750-1889.
Yes.
And our email is hello@myersgallowaycounseling.com. And we will see y'all next Monday.
If you are a Black woman in healthcare, I have got something special for you. On March 18th, I will be hosting a free webinar called 5 Strategies for Black Women Leaders in Outpatient Healthcare to Beat Burnout and Reclaim Wellbeing. You are not going to want to miss this opportunity. I will share with you my unique framework for beating burnout and reclaiming well-being. I hope to see you there. Black women, have you ever felt like you've been the caretaker for everyone else in your life? Like you've had to grow up way too soon, carry the weight of your entire family, and now you are left feeling emotionally drained with no sense of who you are outside of the roles that you play? Well, I'm here to tell you, that's called parentification, and it's time to break free. In our exclusive membership community, Legacy Shifters, we've created an experience specifically for Black women just like you. Women who are ready to reclaim their voice, prioritize themselves, and heal from the invisible wounds of being the strong one for way too long. Through live workshops with me, Montina Galloway, a licensed therapist, and my expert team, plus a private app-based community of women who understand, you'll gain the tools that you need to set boundaries, to prioritize yourself without guilt, and create a life that's truly yours. Imagine a legacy where your joy, your peace, and your priorities come first. Don't wait. Join today. You'll save with our annual membership discount. Visit legacy-shiftersmn.co. Say it with me. I deserve this. Legacy Shifters is here to help you live it.